Have you ever caught yourself playing the ghost in your own life? You're there in body, but not in spirit. Laughing on cue, nodding to keep the peace, swallowing words you wish you had the courage to say. Outwardly, you look calm, maybe even agreeable, but inside your mind, a storm. That storm is familiar to anyone who's lived too long in the orbit of toxic people. The arguments replay themselves at night like broken records. Every insult, every gaslighting trick, every subtle dismissal echoes in your memory. You replay it, trying to figure out what you could have said differently, how you might have defended yourself better. And with each replay, you cut yourself open again, bleeding invisible wounds. But here's the truth. The battle is not about them. It's about you, about your boundaries, your peace, and the sovereignty of your inner world. And if you let them, toxic people will colonize that inner world until you believe you are the problem. That's why Stoicism matters today more than ever. Stoicism isn't dusty philosophy from marble statues. It's a living fire, a warrior's discipline. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, they weren't academics in ivory towers. They were men standing in the furnace of political betrayal, slavery, illness, war. They faced toxicity in its rawest forms, and they built a framework that has outlived empires. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 brutal Stoic tactics that will free you from toxic people forever. Not gentle affirmations, not soft cliches, but war-tested methods. Because dealing with toxicity isn't about making peace with your abuser. It's about reclaiming your kingdom and walking away unchained. By the end of this, you won't just understand toxic people better, you'll be immune to them. Tactic 1. Stop explaining yourself to closed minds. Let's start with the most exhausting trap. Explaining yourself to people who never intended to listen. You've been there. Defending your intentions, spelling out your truth in the clearest words possible, only for them to twist it back at you. It's like pouring water into a broken glass. It disappears instantly, leaving you dry. Family dinners become battlefields. Friendships turn into negotiations, and relationships collapse under the weight of constant justification. But here's the Stoic perspective. Explanations are only meaningful when they fall on ears willing to hear. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, your energy is too sacred to be poured into endless arguments. Explaining yourself to a toxic person is like playing chess with someone who keeps flipping the board. You're not actually playing, you're performing for their amusement. Their goal isn't clarity, it's control. Instead of feeding that game, practice silence. Walk away without explanation. That silence isn't weakness, it's power. It denies them the drama they crave. It forces them to confront the emptiness of their own narrative. Personal reflection. I once had a colleague who constantly misrepresented me. Every email I sent was twisted, every decision criticized. I used to defend myself endlessly, thinking if I explained my reasoning clearly enough, he'd finally see the truth. He never did. The day I stopped defending myself was the day I was free. I realized his narrative was never about me, it was about his insecurity. My silence removed the fuel. So, the first tactic is simple but hard. Stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. Let silence be your shield and your sword. Tactic 2. Don't expect fairness from those who profit from your weakness. Fairness is a beautiful concept, but in the hands of toxic people, it's a fantasy. Some people thrive only when you're diminished. Your exhaustion feeds their ego. Your silence ensures their dominance. Imagine a leech on your skin. Why would it want you strong? Why would it want you healed? Its survival depends on your weakness. In the same way, toxic individuals are invested in keeping you small. Epictetus put it bluntly, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Expecting fairness from the unfair is like expecting the wolf to guard the sheep. It blinds you to reality. Toxic people don't want you rising, they want you compliant. They'll reward your self-betrayal with temporary approval, only to punish you again the moment you show independence. A real-world example. Think of workplaces where toxic bosses thrive. They hand out praise sparingly, criticize endlessly, and promote those who flatter rather than those who excel. Why? Because fairness doesn't serve their power. Unfairness maintains their throne. The Stoic answer? Stop expecting fairness. Once you release that illusion, you stop being surprised by their cruelty. Instead, you shift your focus inward toward mastering yourself rather than controlling them. Your mantra here: I will not ask thieves for honesty, nor wolves for mercy. Status: my peace comes from within, not from their fairness. Tactic 3: your peace is non-negotiable. This is the tactic that transforms lives, treating peace not as a luxury, but as non-negotiable. Toxic people thrive on guilt. They'll make you feel selfish for wanting space, cruel for saying no, cold for protecting your energy. But guilt is their weapon, not your truth. The Stoics teach us that peace is not passive, it's a fortress. Seneca wrote, "The greatest wealth is to live content with little." Your peace is that wealth, and like wealth, it must be guarded fiercely. When you choose distance, they'll brand you as changed, distant, arrogant. That's fine. Their labels are reflections of their loss, not your betrayal. You don't owe anyone your exhaustion. You don't owe anyone constant availability. Practical step: start saying no without explanation. Don't cushion it. Don't over-explain. I can't, period. Notice how freeing that feels. Notice how people who truly respect you accept it, and how the toxic recoil. That recoil is proof you've struck a nerve. Remember, solitude is not loneliness, it's restoration. Every moment you spend reclaiming your energy is a rebellion against the empire of toxicity. Tactic 4: boundaries are weapons, not suggestions. Here's where it gets brutal. Setting boundaries will make you a villain in toxic people's eyes. Why? Because boundaries strip them of power. When you were pliable, when you said yes, when you absorbed their chaos, they adored you. The moment you said no, you became selfish. This isn't coincidence, it's exposure. Boundaries reveal who valued you for you and who valued you for access to you. Stoicism tells us to treat our attention like gold. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Boundaries are the physical manifestation of that principle. Practical boundary tools: block numbers without apology, end conversations when manipulation begins, walk out of rooms when voices rise, treat no as a full sentence, and when they call you dramatic, cold, cruel, smile inwardly. Those accusations are badges of freedom. They mean you've stopped playing their game. Boundaries are not walls of fear, they're gates of sovereignty. You decide who enters, how long they stay, and when they leave. Tactic 5: you don't owe closure to those who thrived on confusion. This may be the hardest pill to swallow. Closure is not owed. We think healing requires one last conversation, one final apology, one clear explanation. But toxic people are masters of confusion. Their power lies in never giving you clarity. They thrive on leaving you questioning, doubting, spinning. So waiting for closure is like waiting for rain in a desert. It keeps you thirsty forever. Epictetus taught, when someone does you wrong, they harm themselves, not you. Their betrayal is their wound to carry, not yours to solve. Your healing is not in their hands. It never was. Closure comes the moment you stop rehearsing their story and start writing your own. You don't need their words to end the chapter. You are the ending.